7-year-old Nicole Monroe has talked and talked about the incident since she regained consciousness. Her father sat at her side today and listened. Nicole is in good condition and could be released soon, home to her father and relatives. Her mother died in that explosion, one of the school teachers who was in the cafeteria at the time.
The whole wall fell out and hit me and hit the table, and it switched over to the other side and hit the table, and then everything started happening. So I got out by myself and I told Buddy to move over. That's my friend, Chalet and Angela. I told them to move over and he couldn't push the thing over, so he tried. And he got knocked out by a rock because he looked funny and he was bleeding. Everybody had blood on their shirt except the people who was all right. And I was one of them. And Mr. Moore was the one that was messing with it. They said some gas spilled on something and it blew up. And my mama was by the wall, and the wall fell on her. She's dead now. She gone to heaven. And I was one of them. Mr. Moore was the one that was messing with it. They said some gas spilled on something and it blew up. And my mama was by the wall, and the wall fell on her. She's dead now. She gone to heaven.
Well, listen, good luck when school continues for you. I hope your studies go well, particularly math, since you like it.
What's his name? Carl Woodward. Will extend for at least a year. What I want to do today is demand that whoever is in charge of this state immediately have a health and safety inspection in every school in this state, and those that do not pass inspection immediately be closed and those children removed to another place. Tomorrow I'm going to go to the governor's office at 10 o'clock and see if I have done any good today, and if I haven't, then tomorrow I start over again.
Good boy, 527.
The Oklahoma State prison system is finding it harder and harder to handle the inmate overcrowding problem. Paroling some eligible prisoners does help, but not when more people tend to come in prison than leave it. Even though the court will allow some doubling up of inmates, correctional officials say it's not enough. And for those people in county jails around the state, what was supposed to be temporary confinement in the county system can very well turn out to be more permanent. Once prisons reach the limit of doubling, correctional officials say they will not take on any more county prisoners. So what are county sheriffs going to do about overcrowding in their jails?
We're violating their rights, not purposely, but no alternative, just no alternative. I'm sure the prisoners I'd rather be down at McAllister than up in my jail because the food, I imagine, is a little better down. The recreation is better. The counseling's better. The exercise area is better. They can't do anything up there but just sit and think of how they're going to tear up my jail.
One inmate in a county jail has some thoughts on the crowded situation he's currently in.
But when it's overcrowded, it's bad because you got 16 different individuals in here. Each one has their own complexities. Each one has their own characteristics. And they're all either... This cell here meshes pretty well, this whole cell here. You know, everybody agrees on something and it goes out like that. But it didn't used to be this way. It's only been this way for about a month and a half.
Both county and state officials say they will work together on overcrowding problems, but don't expect much to be accomplished soon. Ed Stewart, Action 4 at the Cleveland County Jail. There's going to be another investigation into the grading policy of air traffic controller students. This is the second investigation of that type, except this one to be more detailed. The charge is that grades were changed to pass some students who should have failed. FAA officials say they have conducted their own investigation and feel they have nothing to worry about. FAA officials at the training center expect the investigators to arrive within a day or two. Last year, 2 congressional investigators reported that grades of about 14 air traffic controller students were tampered with. The latest investigation will probably take 2 months to complete. We asked the training center spokesman did he think the first investigation would have been the last.
One never knows with a thing like that. I don't know that it's a surprise. An investigation at any time is something one doesn't look forward to, but as I said before, we do welcome these because it will help to clear the air and to bring us back to normalcy of operation.
Weaver just hopes whatever findings are released will have the facts and not opinions. Students and instructors have been told to go on with business as usual, but be prepared to answer a lot of questions about grading in the coming weeks. Ed Stewart, Action 4 at the FAA Academy.
Moving day at Star Spencer School. A local department store has donated men and machines to haul the school's belongings to their new home. Star students are off today, but their teachers are busy bundling up reading, writing, and arithmetic books for the mile-and-a-half move to Rogers Middle School. It's a sad time for teachers who must pack away years of memories.
It's hard to leave something that you've grown used to and all the surroundings, and I'm just so sentimental that it's hard for me to leave anything. My son goes here. He's in the 4th grade in Miss Patterson's room. And I asked him, I said, should we all come back to Star? Would it be hard for you? And he said, no, why should it? But then we came back yesterday and picked up his coat and he said, Mom, my legs are so shaky. And I said, that's all right, that's a normal way to feel, but by the time we left, he was okay. Doesn't take the kids long to adjust. Just have to face up to it and go on.
The move should be completed by tomorrow. Classes are scheduled to resume at Rogers Thursday morning. Star students and teachers won't return to their old building this year. No final decision has been reached yet on whether the building will ever be reopened.
It was perfect here. The teachers and the principal and all the kids. We'll make it perfect at the other place, too.
Scott Wallace, Action 4 at Star Elementary School.
In concept, I have long supported the federal government getting out of some areas where they shouldn't be and allowing the state governments to run the programs. And I agree with that concept, but I want to reserve right now endorsement as to the exact programs that I think should be traded off.
I just thought I ought to come out and give them a hand. They looked like they needed it.
That's what everyone thought. About 1,300 people donated blood to the Star School victims because doctors said they needed it. But by the time victims were counted and surgeries performed, it turned out they only used 20 pints, which left quite a bit of excess blood. More than could be used in the Oklahoma City area before it went bad on the shelf. So the Blood Institute shipped it to where it was needed.
There were clearly other places in the country, such as in Pittsburgh, where that blood was badly needed. There they had a shortage of donors because of the cold wave. And so we sent blood to Pittsburgh as well as to Galveston, Texas, to meet the needs of people there. So I think that's really a very great thing on the part of our people here, that they helped other people as well as the disaster victims here.
The Blood Institute doesn't want this to discourage people from donating. They say they have only reached self-sufficiency within the last 2 years. Before that, Oklahoma imported blood from other states. This time we were able to reverse the process. And if it's any consolation, there is an Oklahoma City child awaiting a liver transplant in Pittsburgh, and that will take 100 units of blood, supplied by Oklahomans last week. Ted Brown, Action 4 at the Oklahoma Blood Institute.
Earlier this week, school inspectors checked the William Henry Harrison Elementary School. They gave the school a clean bill of health. But parents were still concerned. They said the school had a gas leak and they were afraid the water heater was unsafe. A few parents decided to keep their children out of classes until they were satisfied.
It's the city's responsibility to make sure that our schools are safe for our children. And right now, this one is not. And I encourage other parents and grandparents that have children in Oklahoma City public schools to get busy and see and make sure that their schools that their children go to are safe.
After a call from a concerned parent, a city fire inspector came to the school. He says he did find a leak, but he also found a safety device missing from the hot water heater.
We've got a hot water heater in there, and I'm not a plumber. So, you know, I don't know everything, but we've got a hot water heater in there that have leads, safety leads, I think they are, that automatically cuts off the pilot light when that safety valve is actuated, and it's unhooked in there. And what we're trying to do now is get it hooked back up, or either get it red tagged until we're absolutely sure that hot water heater is safe.
School officials here would not let us in to have a look at the water heater, but they said that every precaution was being taken to ensure the safety of the children here. We don't know if the safety device missing from the water heater here was like the safety device missing from the water heater at Star Elementary School, but Inspector Wallace points out that it was a safety device, and it should have been in place and operating. Wallace also says he can't tell how long the device had been missing, but says that if it had happened before Monday, the school inspectors should have noticed it themselves. They gave this school a clean bill of health. All of that raises a lot of serious questions about the past conditions here, and indeed about the conditions all across the Oklahoma City School District. Charles Schnitzer, Action 4, at the William Henry Harrison Elementary School.
This man is tearing down to build up. The house being torn down is located next to the Hospital Hospitality House at 715 Northeast 13th Street in Oklahoma City. Robert McCoy, an employee of Southwestern Bell, is volunteering his time and effort to do this job.
I'm with the Telephone Pioneers, and I've seen so many cases where people in the hospital and such have got absolutely no place to go. And this is just something to help everybody. I had an unfortunate time in my life in the past, and a lot of people helped me, and maybe in a way I'm trying to pay them back, but I don't know. It's something I want to do.
Once McCoy clears the debris, additional rooms will be added to the hospitality house. Not everyone's familiar with the house. It's a home away from home for relatives of seriously ill patients who live outside Oklahoma County but must come to city hospitals for specialized and often long-term care. The house doesn't charge for any of its services. It's supported by volunteers like Robert McCoy. Ben McCain, Action 4.
Championship chili.
The chili pros arrived early this morning to begin testing their skills as the city's finest chili chef. The contestants work in teams, taking turns stirring and adding their favorite ingredients. Some have their own secret recipes, while others take potluck.
Every time I cook chili, it's always different. You know, it just depends on the mood I'm in at the time.
Well, it's basically the same recipe we use. Dried chilies and fresh chilies and onions and garlic, different kinds of meat. There's lamb in this chili. We make every recipe specifically for the contest we're in. We don't follow the same one all the time.
Everyone turned out for the chili cook-off today, including parents who like to train their young ones early. But the winning chili has to be a combination of factors. Contestants go all out with their own sensory descriptions, which in some cases can turn the judges off.
I try to stay away from the ones that have buzzard gizzards. As I understand it, there's one here today that has buzzard gizzards in the chili along with the sausage and the other preparations. Last year, there was armadillo meat that was one of the winners. So I'm looking out for the buzzard gizzards this time.
Chances are these folks really don't care who wins, but whether everyone has a chilly good time. Carol Lambert, Action 4.
Students at Northwest Classen High School received a chili reception this morning. A steam pipe had broken overnight, and heat was not being pumped into the classrooms. The pipe was fixed by school maintenance personnel. School officials say the atmosphere was a little uncomfortable for the students. Some were moved into a cafeteria while their classes warmed up again. The school's principal says that heat is one of the periodic problems of operating in an older building.
See no safety hazard involved at all in the situation this morning. We're having some problems with regard to some steam lines that are broken, and those have been repaired at the present. It's a general maintenance problem to a building that's 26 years old, and there's absolutely no safety problems to our knowledge at this time.
The school district is hoping to replace several heat systems in older schools with a bond issue next month. The system here at Northwest Classen is not on the list because school officials are confident they can continue to solve the problems that arise every now and then with routine maintenance. Charles Schnitzer, Action 4.
Crews were replacing pressure relief valves on school water heaters today. It was just such a valve that helped cause the explosion at Star Elementary School 2 weeks ago. Inspectors last week recommended some of the valves be replaced, but the school superintendent says he went one step further and decided to replace all of the valves, whether they needed it or not. The valves going on the tanks are larger than their predecessors. In theory, they will be able to release excess pressure faster than the pressure can build up. According to repairmen, the old valve could not do that and posed a potential threat of another accident. Ted Brown, Action 4 at Longfellow Elementary School.
By early this morning, the city of Enid had a pretty good grip on the blizzard. Snowplows had cleared city streets overnight, and tractors spent the day scooping moisture from shopping center parking lots. Enid officials say the town collected a total of 13 inches of snow yesterday. By this afternoon, commuter traffic was almost back to normal. Further westward, Waynoka is still buried beneath 18 inches of powder. But motorists who had been stranded in the town overnight were able to get back on their way this afternoon. The Highway Patrol is still advising drivers to use chains if they plan to travel on US 281 north of Waynoka. Man is not the only beast suffering at the hands of Mother Nature. It's bad enough cattle can't graze on the frozen wheat fields, but some poor fellers can't even get a decent drink. While most of us shiver at the thought of coping with more than a foot of snow, folks in Fairview were philosophical about the bad weather.
It's not that big a deal, not now. We've had worse snows than this.
It only happens once a year. I like it. I like a little bit of snow every once in a while, but I hope we don't get no more.
Most towns in northern and western Oklahoma have cleared their streets of the latest precipitation, but they'd better not put their snowplows away just yet. Another storm system is forming over the Rockies. It could hit western Oklahoma tomorrow night. Scott Wallace, Action 4 in Fairview.
Well, this is the worst intersection we could find in the city, and its problems were caused by a leaking water main. It's really not too tough getting around right now, unless you've got bald tires and a brick on a rope for brakes. It is cold and will probably get colder, so there are some slick spots. So do your insurance premiums a favor and don't follow too close. It will probably get worse tonight. The city is scheduled for about a 3-inch accumulation. And if you're thinking of traveling northwest of here, well, you're supposed to be responsible for yourself when they give you a driver's license. Ted Brown, Action 4.
Well, he had a fall 3 weeks ago, and he had to have some stitches. We didn't think he was hurt badly, but he did feel a little bad for a few days. And then a few of the things that he talked to Mother about made us decide that he must have sort of lost his mind. He didn't remember as he should. So, but anyway, he went He left home going out to his farm to take care of some errands there and get a man to do some bulldozing. But since he has been seen in O'Keene, we decided he went west and turned north rather than south to Hinton.
Everett was apprehended yesterday after a robbery at the local Federal Savings and Loan on Southwest 36th Street. FBI agents were poised and ready to solve a number of robberies in the Southwest area, and this was their lucky break. This particular savings and loan had been robbed before, and the FBI was able to respond quickly and apprehended Everett after a high-speed chase involving an exchange of gunfire.
Yesterday, the FBI came to Everett's house. Inside, they found a number of guns and evidence which they say links Everett and a man named Gonzalez of Houston to a number of crimes in the city.
When we saw we were being plagued by robberies being committed by the same two individuals, that's what it appeared to us, that we decided to put a little more manpower and resources into maybe catching these people, and that's what we did, and it resulted in their arrest.
The FBI says Everett and Gonzalez usually wore ski masks in their robberies. Now one member of the team is in jail on a $100,000 bond. Gonzalez is considered a fugitive, and a warrant is out for his arrest. Bellashaw, Action 4 at FBI headquarters.